Gil Capps joins us now for the Golf Channel. He is live at Shinnecock, where the U.S. Open 118th edition starts on Thursday, and he's on the Boardwalk Honda Hotline. Gil, welcome back.
You guys are taking all my good stuff. I don't even know why you're having me on anymore.
Sorry, Gil.
No worries, Pete, Mike. Good afternoon. Greetings from the Hamptons, where I'm not sure I feel richer or poorer being up here, but it is a super nice day here as well, Pete. I really shouldn't be here at Shinnecock Hills working. Should be up playing golf at one of these other fantastic layouts they have out here in the area. But nevertheless, I'm here watching the best players in the world here compete at the second major of the year, one of the most historic golf courses, one of the best golf courses we have in the nation.
Yep.
Shinnecock Hills. You know, my friend Johnny Miller used to say, they should just rotate the U.S. Open between Shinnecock Hills and Pebble Beach, and maybe throw in another course just for an Oakmont or Pinehurst, just for the sake of it every now and then. But this is about as good as it gets golf-wise, and it's going to be a treat to watch everybody here Thursday through Sunday.
Gil, we know all eyes are going to be on Tiger Woods. It's been 10 years since he's got one, and he made his Shinnecock debut back in 1995. To put that in perspective, I was a senior in high school when that occurred. So it's been a while since, for Tiger to win a major. But how is this course set up for him?
I think it sets up pretty well for Tiger. We talked about this before, right? Who courses favor? I think this one favors less people than most U.S. Open setups would. A lot of intricacy to it. A lot of thought has to go, I think, into playing this golf course, where you're going to position balls in the fairway, where you want to position them around the greens, where you need to bail out, where hole locations are. And I think you have to be fairly long to play this golf course. It's par 70. Last time they were here in 2004, it was just under 7,000 yards. And now they've added 440 yards to the layout. So it's almost like an extra hole. So a lot of people here feel that it definitely favors a longer hitter, and Tiger would be in that category. And obviously experience matters, and the players who've won here before have been very experienced players. But with Tiger, right, there's all this hope and optimism and enthusiasm about how he's come back, and he's looked pretty good. But there are a couple things, right? The putting has not been stellar, especially at his last outing at Memorial, where he missed something like 7 putts inside of 5 feet, which is unheard of for Tiger. And then it's the question that I still have and always will have: when you go through something that he went through, back in 2009, go through all the back injuries, and you go through what? It's just barely been a year since we were all questioning. We weren't worried about Tiger's golf game. We were worried about his life, with the DUI and the medicines that were found in his system. And to go through all that and come back and compete at the highest level is one thing, but to win coming down the line on Sunday, I know he's done it before, but we've had plenty of other guys through the history of this game, Arnold Palmer, Tom Watson, Seve Ballesteros, who stopped winning at a fairly young age, mid-30s, and we were all like, well, they'll win again. They've won before, they know how to win, but they didn't, and they didn't win the majors. And I think that's a big hurdle for Tiger to overcome, psychologically, emotionally, spiritually, coming down the last 9 of any tournament, nevertheless a major, which he wants so badly, and to be able to win one of those. It's much different than just looking good on the range and hitting the ball well.
Brooks Koepka won last year. He kind of pulled away, and obviously a different course here, but how is he playing on trying to defend his crown?
Well, I'll pull a little stat out here for Pete, that the last 2 U.S. Open winners here at Shinnecock Hills were both ranked 9th in the world at the time of their wins. That was Corey Pavin, 95, and Rickie in 2004. And who's ranked number 9 coming into this week? Was Brooks Koepka, the defending champion, who battled a wrist injury early in the year, missed 17 weeks, and he hasn't looked top notch, to be honest with you. But it's, of course, I think once again, it's of course it's going to favor long hitters. It's of course that he won last year in Hills, on a course that had fairly wide fairways. They have fairly wide fairways here. Essentially last year was really wide fairways. This year they're fairly wide. Sometimes guys just get in positions and get feeling good one week and get the bit between their teeth and go. But the U.S. Open has been one of those championships that's been more difficult to defend successfully than most others. The fact that the last to do it was Curtis Strange, and that was in 1989, and before him it was Ben Hogan in 1951. So those are a lot of defending champions that didn't quite have enough the following year, and I think it will be tough for him, but I wouldn't be surprised at all to see him play well.
Gil, you can't talk the U.S. Open and not talk Phil Mickelson. He's the Susan Lucci of the U.S. Open, always the runner-up, never the winner, right? 6-time runner-up at the U.S. Open. He's got a history with Shinnecock. You mentioned Retief Goose, and Mickelson lefty was in the lead at one point during that final round in 2004. Of course, everybody also remembers the burnt-out green in the par 3 and how nobody could keep the ball on the green. But how about Mickelson's chances this week?
Phil loves New York, and New York loves Phil, right? I mean, he's had a lot of success and a lot of high finishes up in the New York City area. You're right, 1995 even. As a younger guy, 25, he was right in contention down the stretch before doubling 16, and then in 04, one-shot lead, 2 holes to play, stand on 17T, and double bogeys it, and winds up finishing 2 back. He's playing fairly well. He's had a great year. Got a win in Mexico for the first time in 4 years. A couple other top 3 finishes. I think this golf course sets up for Phil. The issues kind of think being one, he's going to be 48 this weekend, and it's hard. It's just hard. It's hard when you get that old to close these things with old nerves. As great as Phil is, as great a short game as he has, but that said, this is a course that has favored guys who won here have had great short games. I said they won it, chipping and putting. All 3 of them here recently, Floyd, Pavin, and Goosen, and he can do that. And he knows the course pretty well. I think he's really in a pretty relaxed mood, guys. Tim Rosaport on our Golf Channel reported earlier today. Phil skipping out. He came in a couple weeks early, played some here yesterday at his press conference. Well, today he's over at a nearby course called Fireside, which is a top-notch golf course, playing golf with Rickie Fowler and Tom Brady. So I think Phil's pretty relaxed, and I think he thinks he's in a good spot going into Thursday to try to complete the career Grand Slam and become only the 6th player to do it.
Gil Capps with us. And Gil, are there any names that we haven't discussed that you think could end up being on top of that leaderboard when Sunday finishes Father's Day?
We were talking about this a little earlier today on the Golf Channel set amongst a few of us. The one guy nobody mentions is Dustin Thomas, who got the number 1 in the world. Now he's number 2 after Dustin Johnson won last week. Won the PGA at the end of last year, and kind of gets these majors, and he kind of gets lost for some reason. I'm not exactly sure why. He has the talent, to win the U.S. Open and to win this week. He's one kind of big name that kind of goes under the radar. I think a little bit more than he should. But you have some guys playing well. You have Justin Rose who won recently. Jason Day's another guy who kind of falls now, into that category. Doesn't get mentioned a lot for some reason, but 2 wins this year. He has everything that you would require of a player to win here. Like we talked about, hits the ball well, short game's out of this world. As long as he's in a good mood and feels good, and he's feels like he's injury free that week, he's the guy who could win here as well.
2 guys that I guess you got to bring up too is the runner-up last year, Rickie Fowler, and of course Jordan Spieth. I mean, those 2 guys, everybody's always got their eyes on in the majors.
They do, and Rickie, having just gotten engaged here this past weekend to his longtime girlfriend, and did it on a beach up here in the Hamptons. So we'll see how that, the excitement of doing that and the change that brings about. Maybe it'll kind of relax him a little bit. I mean, what a great finish he had at the Masters. I think that has to bode well for him because, let's face it, he's had some events and tournaments where he hasn't really finished well. And to finish well there like he did and get a runner-up finish, got to be a big boost of confidence for him. Jordan Spieth, on the other hand, he's looking for any sign of confidence he can gain on the greens. His play, he's gone from one of the best putters, not only in the world, but one of the best putters and putting performances we've seen in a long time over a few years span, to really, really struggling and dropping down the list in rankings of one putt percentage, three putt avoidance, putts per green regulation, putts per round, all those putting categories. He's gone from top 10, to down below 150. And that's starting to affect, I think, the rest of his game. It really can kind of go backwards. The pressure on your iron shots, the pressure on your tee shots, and it can really quickly unravel your entire game. And he's kind of struggling with that. Hasn't finished in the top 20 in his last 4 starts, and that's the first time that's happened since the summer of 2014 in his career. So I think this is a big week for him to get some kind of confidence, at a major test and a major setup like Shinnecock Hills. Hopefully salvage the rest of the season. He can do it. He's a very special player, but I think it's something that he's going to really have to work through himself to get to that spot.
Gil Capps from the Golf Channel here as the U.S. Open on Thursday. Gil, who's your pick?
Man, I hate picking these guys. It's a no-win situation. I think as we've seen the past 2 times we've been here, we've had very good golfers win. Not necessarily guys who would be, superstars. I don't know. Why don't we say it's Justin Rose?
You got Rose. I'm going Fowler. It's his time. It's time for Fowler. He married his best friend on National Best Friends Day. This is the year for him.
Could be.
Rosie's not a bad one. I'm going to go with a sentimental favorite. I'll say Phil. I'd love to see that always the bridesmaid become a bride, so to speak, and see him finally cross the finish line there.
All right, Gil Capps from the Golf Channel. Their coverage will be outstanding, as it always is, all week long for this year's U.S. Open. And, of course, he appeared via the Boardwalk Honda hotline. Thank you so much, Gil.
Mike, Pete, as always, enjoyed it.